The forgotten god, the child of earth and sky. Once upon a time, in a village cradled between vast forests and towering mountains, a child was born beneath an ominous sky. The wind howled like a grieving mother, and thunder growled in the heavens, an unspoken warning. The villagers gathered in hushed silence outside the small hut, waiting for news. But when the midwife emerged, her face was pale, her hands trembling. "The child," she whispered, barely daring to speak the words. "She has only one leg. One arm. The gods have cursed her." A horrified murmur spread through the crowd like wildfire. Inside the hut, the mother wept, clutching her newborn to her chest. Her husband turned away, shame and fear warring in his eyes. The elders were summoned, their wrinkled faces grave as they examined the infant. "Such a child is an omen of misfortune," one of them declared. "She will bring ruin upon us all." And so, the child, named Nia, though few dared to say her name aloud, was hidden away, locked behind wooden walls where no one could see her. Her parents spoke little of her, as if ignoring her existence would erase the stain upon their honor. But the gods do not abandon their own. The abandonment. Years passed, and Nia grew in the shadows, her world confined to a small, dim room. She learned to walk with her single leg, to use her small arm as best she could. But she was never allowed beyond the threshold of the house. Her mother would bring her food in silence. Her father never looked at her. She heard the villagers' whispers through the cracks in the walls. Cursed. Unwanted. A burden. And then, one night, her parents' whispers turned into something far worse. "We cannot keep her any longer," her father murmured. "The people talk. They say she is the reason for our misfortunes." "But she is still our child," her mother pleaded, though even she sounded uncertain. "Our child or not, we must think of the village. Of ourselves." That night, under the cover of darkness, Nia was carried deep into the heart of the forest. Her mother's hands trembled as she set her down upon the earth. "Forgive me," she whispered, pressing a kiss to Nia's forehead, tears streaming down her cheeks. Then they left. And Nia was alone. The awakening. But she did not cry. She sat in the silence, listening. Not to the voices of men, but to the whisper of the trees, the murmur of the river, the hush of the wind as it curled around her like a protective embrace. Then, from the darkness, the forest came alive. A great eagle descended from the sky, its golden eyes piercing and wise. It landed before her, tilting its head as if studying her. Then, without a sound, it extended its mighty wings. Understanding stirred within Nia's heart. She reached out with her small arm, and the eagle bowed its head. A wolf, silver as the moon, emerged from the shadows. It did not growl or bare its teeth. Instead, it lay beside her, its warm body a shield against the cold night. The trees whispered ancient secrets. The river hummed lullabies. The wind carried stories older than time itself. And Nia listened. She learned. She grew, not in body, but in spirit. The eagle carried her high into the sky, showing her the vastness of the world. "See beyond what is in front of you," it told her. "Do not let your form define you, for you are more than flesh." The wolf taught her the ways of survival, how to hunt, how to move with the rhythm of the land. "Strength is not in limbs, but in heart," it said. "Run, not with legs, but with will." The spirits of the forest murmured to her, telling her the truth that the villagers had failed to see: she was not cursed. She was divine. A forgotten god, walking in human form. And the power that had once been buried deep within her began to awaken. The return. Years passed. The village forgot about the child they had cast away. Then, one fateful year, famine struck. The rivers dried, the crops withered, and the animals fled. A sickness spread through the village, stealing lives like a silent thief in the night. Desperation gripped the people, their prayers to the gods growing louder, more frantic. One day, as the villagers gathered in the square, a figure emerged from the edge of the forest. A woman, draped in robes woven from the leaves of the sacred trees. Her hair flowed like the river's song, her eyes held the weight of the heavens. She moved with an unnatural grace, as if the very earth carried her forward. Gasps rippled through the crowd. It cannot be. The girl, the one we abandoned. Shame burned on their faces as they fell to their knees, trembling with regret. She gazed upon them, her expression unreadable. Then, she spoke, her voice like the rustling of ancient leaves. You turned away from what you did not understand. You feared what was different. But the gods do not curse, only humans do that to themselves. A hush fell over the village. The people trembled, awaiting her judgment. But Nia did not seek vengeance. Instead, she lifted her hand. The sky darkened, heavy with promise. The first drop of rain fell, then another, until the heavens wept, drenching the cracked earth. Rivers swelled, crops drank greedily, and the air shimmered with renewed life. The sick were healed, the weak were strengthened, and the village flourished once more. But it was not mercy that the people remembered, it was the lesson. They built a shrine in her honor, not because she had saved them, but because she had opened their eyes. From that day forward, no child was ever cast aside for being different. No soul was deemed unworthy. For they understood now, within every being, no matter how broken or unlike the others, there lay a spark of the divine. And so, the God who had once been forsaken chose to remain among them, a guiding light in the darkness, ensuring that never again would they turn their backs on those who were different. For in every soul, whether whole or fractured, there lies the echo of the eternal, waiting to be recognized, cherished, and embraced. Thanks for watching African Folk by Joyval. Your support means a lot to us. Kindly subscribe, like, share and comment. Moral lessons for the story. 1. Embracing differences. The story teaches that what may seem like a curse or misfortune is often misunderstood. The child, despite her physical differences, was a divine being, showing that true value lies beyond appearances. 2. The power of compassion. The villager's rejection of the child out of fear contrasts with her ultimate act of mercy. She returns not for revenge, but to heal and teach, showing that kindness and understanding are greater than hatred. 3. Human judgment versus divine wisdom. The villagers judged the child harshly without knowing her true nature. This reflects how people often fear what they do not understand, while the divine, or wisdom, sees beyond surface flaws. 4. Redemption and growth. The villagers learned from their mistakes and changed their ways. The story highlights that it is never too late to correct past wrongs and build a more accepting and just community. 5. Strength in spirit, not just in body. Despite her physical form, the child grew into a powerful and wise being. This teaches that true strength comes from resilience, wisdom, and the spirit within, rather than physical perfection. Ultimately, the story is about acceptance, transformation, and the divine potential within all people, no matter how different they seem. Thanks. God bless you all for your support. Drop your thoughts below.